Good morning, Blackfire. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. All right. Ready to rock and roll. Good day, Oblivion. Good to see you as well. Hope you're doing well. Good morning, Ilmanian. Good morning, Kate. I think that's how you say. Am I saying your username right? I'm second guessing myself. Cat, maybe. Morning, 0x187.
Kate.
Kate. Okay, yeah, yeah. It's short for Caitlin. There you go, Kate. Cool. I always use StreamerBot to test myself. I think my personal finance goals are going to be in the pooper today. Why? What's going on today that's going to tank your personal finance goals? Oil is going to Oh yeah, for sure, bro. Oil's going up, market's going down. Just got finished writing a report, going to bed, got sick. No work tomorrow? Well, first off, congratulations on finished writing your report. Second off, get some sleep, get some rest. I hope you feel better. Good morning, Minister of Defense. Let's see. Nothing's really happening. I woke up about 15 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago. Drinking, that was my first sip of coffee. I'm just trying to get going for the day, you know? Suhas, yo, I found you while scrolling. Nice. Dude, gold is already up, but I feel weird investing in gold. Yeah, I don't own any gold actually myself. I mean, I'll just continue to buy stocks while they're on discount. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, it's gonna be a little rough day, I think, for everybody. It's gonna be a little tumultuous. Market will probably open up pretty down. Oil prices will be up. I guess the U.S. command and control, or I'm not exactly sure who that is, but they announced that the first three U.S. soldiers, I guess, had died. Yeah, it's gonna be a little weird for a little bit of time here. We'll see how it goes. Does the emergency fund make sense for gold or something similar? I guess. I don't know. I just keep all my money, all my short-term money in cash, all my long-term money is invested in stocks. Or I should say, I shouldn't really say stocks because that's kind of misleading. Index funds is what it's all in. Why Twitch censor poor or pooper? I don't know. I did it censor it? I don't think it censored it. Yeah, usually when Twitch censors something, there's like little asterisks on my side. Damien, just make sure you won't be the one holding the bag because shit is about to go down. Let's see, I was sitting in bed doing some SAT to see if I can maybe snag some free money. Caught a type confusion vulnerability. Ooh, nice. You're always on the lookout for vulnerabilities, aren't you? Yeah, I do indexes as well, yeah. Actually swapped from US stocks to Canadian this year? Interesting. Very interesting. Well, world war is happening. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, man. It's kind of crazy. I was in third grade the first time the U.S. kicked off a war in the Middle East, or I guess the most recent time. I shouldn't say the first time, but the most recent time. And here I am, 32, and my son's in fourth grade. It's like, here we go again. Okay, a C2 command and control is a control server for Beacon implant to gain access to a device before making moves towards persistence. Yeah, but I think in this context, this is like command and control for the U.S. military. Hello, Throbbing. I was wanting your opinion on a keyboard. Sure, yeah, I like keyboards. I'm gonna fill up my water bottle real quick. I expect lower. Yeah, I'm gonna stay in U.S. stocks, but that's interesting. I was joking about World War III, and it's sad if it happens for real. Well, I guess it's not really World War, but like the Iranians are firing missiles at multiple countries in the Middle East, right? So I imagine more folks are going to get involved in the conflict before the end of this. They ain't going to drop tomorrow, are they? I don't know what you're talking about. Like real people are going to get hurt. Yeah, for sure. I guess real people are already getting hurt. I saw some report about a girls' school in Iran, like 63 students or something, that got hit by a strike. And then, like I said, the U.S. just announced that 3 soldiers passed away. Yeah. I mean, it's like, what's that quote from that Linkin Park song? Let me see if I can find it. When the rich wage war, it's the poor who die. Yeah, that's that's about as accurate as it gets, unfortunately. Throbbing. Although I don't support either side, I'm not totally against war. Really? Yeah, I think war's hell. You know, I think war's hell, and I would never send somebody to fight a war in my place. And so it's tough for me to support a conflict that I wouldn't want to go fight in. You know, or that I wouldn't want to send my sons to fight in. So it's tough for me to be happy or glad or positive about a conflict when I myself wouldn't participate in the conflict unless forced to, and I wouldn't offer my sons up unless forced to. I hate how Zig names its stuff. It has some of the dumbest names for the toolchain. The language creator needs a marketing team. Okay, let's look at some examples. Can you give me some examples? Like what's I don't know anything about Zig. Jokes. What jokes? A side war is bad. Yeah. Yep. Zag got him. I don't know. I'm not following. Also, the fact that we have like active participation on Twitch is fire. Usually, it's all YouTube. So thank you guys for hanging out on Twitch. M1V5 TMR. Is that a keyboard? What is that? Oh yeah, it's a keyboard. This is the keyboard you want to get. It looks like a nice keyboard. They have a new feature called Juicy Main, and they have a profiler tool called Poop. No, they don't. No, they don't. I don't believe you. Zig has a profiler named Poop. Hold on. Profiler. Poop. Oh my gosh, bro. Yeah, they need a marketer. They need a marketer. Like who did that? Did they think it was gonna be funny? And they just thought it wasn't really gonna be a No, they meant to do this. Stop flushing your performance down the drain. This was very intentional. This is the language creator's repo. Oh, is it really? Andrew Kelly, lead developer and the president of the Zig Software Foundation. So I know absolutely nothing about the Zig language. Who's this fella? What's he about? Where's he come from? Does he have a? I wonder if he has a LinkedIn. I'm always curious about like people's professional backgrounds. Andrew, what was his name? Andrew Kelly. Andrew Kelly. Based on his website, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would have a. Huh. Yeah, I'd be curious what his background is. Interesting. Poop. What was the other one he said? D, I am a coding god. Man, you're feeling it this morning, D. Good for you. Wait, why the drain? Why the drain? Hold on, what was the other one you said? Juicy man. That was the other one. I mean, you can look at it two ways. You can look at it from the perspective of it's good that they don't take things so seriously, right? Or you can look at it from the point that other people aren't going to take you seriously, and that's going to hinder like how many people adopt you, right? But that's pretty funny. So what is this? What if you could receive a bunch of goodies in Maine simply by asking for them? The first arg. The second arg is this would be a minimal opinionated parser that users would opt out of the moment they want to do something remotely sophisticated. Yeah, I don't know what this is. Let's see if Copilot knows. What are they talking about here? What is Juicy Maine? Why is it juicy? Who is Maine? It's the ability to pass an init param through main. Interesting. Okay, this just shows how dumb I am, or how much lack of knowledge I have around the Zig programming language. Let's see. That would make the main function more feature rich, hence juicy, as in full of good stuff. Okay. Interesting. Well, thank you very much, Minister of Defense, for sharing this with me. This was a nice way to get introduced to Zig. I just want to say fuck just one of those days, I guess. Well, you can say fuck whenever you want. Well, I guess you got to check with your parents if it's okay if you cuss, but question with the keyboards, have you tried ceramic keycaps? I have not tried ceramic keycaps, but I would like to. The keyboards that I'm currently looking at getting next is there's a wormier keyboard. It's called is it SK? It's either SK75, maybe it's RD75. I can't remember exactly which one. That's the keyboard I have on my radar next. This is the keyboard I've been trying to keep an eye out for on Amazon. It's a little pricey for me. I don't typically buy keyboards in the $100 range. I try to get stuff like 50, 60, but it looks nice and it sounds really nice. All the reviews I've seen of it sound really nice, but I've never had ceramic keyboards. The other keyboard I've been looking at is a split keyboard from Keychron, because there's a couple people that hang out in my chat sometimes that have been trying to push me towards, trying a split keyboard, and I just haven't pulled the trigger yet. But I'd like to, again, they're just kind of expensive, you know? Like $200 for a keyboard's a lot of money, in my world at least. But those are the two keyboards that I've had my eyes on the last like 12 months, and I just haven't pulled the trigger yet. But the keyboard you sent me, what was it? What was the keyboard you sent me? It was MV something or other. Aren't main function arguments only passed in when running the program in the terminal? I would assume so, but I don't know anything about Zig, so don't take my word for it. M1V5, that's what it was. M1V5. Yeah, I think that looks like a really nice keyboard. Honestly, I don't know anything about it, but it looks like a very nice keyboard. I've come to find that I really like keyboards that are gasket mounted. That seems to be an important feature for me with a keyboard. It's the best gaming keyboard ever. Well, there you go, man. You don't even need my opinion. You've got an opinion. Go for it. Pull the trigger. Dota 2. Yeah, that's why I never got into expensive keyboards. Although I do spend money on my setup because I think it's worth it. I'm not convinced to spend that much. Yeah, for me, it's always a trade-off. I'm always looking at like, okay, if I spend $200 on a keyboard, what else could I buy with $200? And there's a lot of other things you could buy with $200. Not to mention, you could also just stick $200 in your investment account, and $200 compounded annually for 30 years is a lot of money. Even at, let's say it's at 4%. Couple $1,000, right? Probably where you end up. All right, let's get our setup here. Administrator, no, now you don't want to use it. It's the bit. No, no, no. I would love to. I would love to try Zig at some point. It was honestly a toss-up between learning Zig and Rust. That was honestly a toss-up for me. But yeah, I would love to try it out. I've been trying to design a really cool shader for a few hours now, and whenever I ask an LLM to fix or add something for me, it makes it worse. I think graphics developers are safe. Okay, cool. Let's add that one to a list. Let's start a list, and let's all just keep a list of all the areas of software development that are safe havens from AI. There's a very real argument that you should spend your money. It's an increase in overall quality of life up to a point. I guess. To me, that's very intellectual. That's a very intellectual argument because to me, nothing really matters until you have some level of financial security, which means you're financially independent. So if you don't have a level of financial independence, you probably shouldn't be spending your money on most things that you don't absolutely need. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying it's the right opinion. I'm just saying, if you could lose your job tomorrow and you'd be destitute in 6 to 12 months, you probably don't need a $200 keyboard. I mean, that again, this is my opinion. Waiting until financial freedom is too late to spend it as well. No, it's not. No, it's not. You'll never convince me of that, man. No, it's not. I owned nothing until I was 75. Yeah, that's completely fine with me. I'd be completely okay with that. I spend money on my wife and my kids because they didn't ask for my goals, my financial goals, or my financial opinions. But yeah, when it comes to myself, I think we're being rage baited by pro-consumer ideologists. I mean, I've got nothing wrong with other people consuming. That's not what I'm. I don't want you guys to think that. I'm just saying, for me personally, the thing that's most important to me is financial security and financial peace for me and my family. You know, and so that's why I say that my quality of life. Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to say something.
Steven, I'm $50 million in debt, but I was looking at a new iPad for $500. Do I buy it?
Go ahead. It could measurably improve your quality of life. I mean, I understand what Dota is saying. I understand what I've had these exact conversations with my own mother. So I understand what Dota is saying, and I understand the argument about enjoying your life and spending your money and blah blah blah. I get all that. It's just I've made a very conscious decision that that's not what's most important to me. I don't need a lot to be happy, and so I feel very content with the things I own and the things I have, and so I'm focused on a larger goal. Definitely not if you live paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, and the vast majority of people, at least in the U.S., I don't know about outside the U.S., but the vast majority of people in the U.S. live paycheck to paycheck. Like if the vast majority of people in the U.S. if they lost their jobs tomorrow, they would be in crisis mode. That's that's just like a matter of fact. Most people don't have a $500 or $1,000 for emergency, so it's a precarious situation a lot of people find themselves in. They don't think it's a precarious financial situation, but it is. It it's not precarious to them because it's been normalized, but it shouldn't be normalized. I'd like to take a vote. Anyone in a meeting that suggests AI for anything get thrown out the window? Dude, I don't know if there'd be anybody left to work at any of these big companies. I'm just trying to get the stock market to increase here. Well, I'm kind of hypocritical because like I kind of am like, yeah, I want all of you to keep consuming. I want my stock the stock that I own to keep going up. But I'm opting out. AI is also bad at ASCII word art. I can't spell it at all. Interesting. I've never tried to have AI generate ASCII art. Yeah, the no emergency funds is kind of crazy. It really is. James, nah, I joined the Fit Zombies. Okay. I mean that's one strategy. You can definitely do that. Minister of Defense. I would be in crisis mode if I lost my job. To be fair, I lost parents within 5 years. That will eat through your savings. Oh, 100%. I can't imagine, man. And I'm really sorry about your folks. Not if you don't have any. I'm not sure what that comment was about. Not if you don't have any. Sorry. I think I lost track of the conversation there. Let's see, like if you keep living your lifestyle for an entire year, if your income suddenly got cut off, over-consuming is a serious danger to consider. There are indexes for this. In the US, I think the threshold was 120,000 per year, I think, but don't quote me. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of grown up in a world around people who have mostly lived their life spending money for the now, you know? And I'm just trying to do something a little different myself. AI got so much better, but the leading/bleeding edge adopters are now disenfranchised, and the people like me that were cynical to AI ever being useful at adopting. Well, the thing I see right now is just like you have a lot of professional engineers who seem to be over indexing on being pro AI and AI native, and I think a lot of that has to do with that being a way to advance their careers. but they're being kind of disingenuous about that. They're not really saying that's why they're doing it. They're saying they're doing it because they really believe that like that's the future. So I'm curious to see where we all stand in 5 years. Like in 5 years, are these people all still holding this position, or will this wave of uh, fascination or fixation on AI will it pass? A year is a long time for a safety fund, etc. It really is. A year is a very long time, and that's why I say that I want to get to a point where there's enough. Basically, I want to get to a point where I have 25 times my month, 25 times my yearly spend invested, um, so that I can really not have to ever worry about like how much emergency fund do I need, right? Like that's how you achieve true kind of economic security, in my opinion, is when you have money that's making you money. James, AI rules. Hey man, there's nothing wrong with that. I think AI is cool. I just don't think it's the savior. So yeah, and people spend so much on travel, I just couldn't. Yeah, I would like to spend money on travel, but yeah, it's difficult for me to justify it at this stage in my life. Let's see, in a more socialist country maybe, but especially for the US, you want to get to a point where your money can work for itself, but it doesn't need to be a goal. It's just how to exit lower middle class. That's so that Oblivion just called me out. That's where I'm at. I'm ready to exit lower middle class. That's where my family and most of the prior generations of my family have been hanging out for the last 40, 50, 60 years, and I'm ready to I'm ready to get out of there. AI is so early, I don't think anyone understands its use cases. No, my problem is the problem I think is that LLMs are being used in ways they shouldn't really be used, and that there's some other form of AI, there's some other model or architecture that is going to actually be the thing we want, and we're all hung up on trying to make large language models that thing, and I don't think they are that thing. My prediction is manual coders will remain valuable. I think getting away from code is losing leverage. When AI systems fail, you will need manual coders. I would have to say I skew towards that opinion. Yeah, I skew towards that opinion. Sure, pilots can use autopilot, but you really want a pilot who knows how to fly a plane. That might be one of the better analogies. And I've heard that from other folks. The pilot analogy, that makes a lot of sense to me. I think what you have now, though, is you have a lot of people who are fixated on trying to automate the pilot away, at least in the coding world. And I don't know if that's a worthwhile endeavor. Doesn't seem like a good use of time, but it seems like a lot of people are trying to do it. Remember, somebody was here yesterday talking about how their employer is trying to build a system to do that, which doesn't seem like a good use of time, in my opinion. We use AI in cybersecurity. There are threat feeds like the Open Threat Exchange, which is basically a live news feed for any new emerging threats that updates in real time. We can feed those into AI to look for new threats in our systems until we can signature and devise sensors for something. That's a cool use case. Very cool. James, I live in poverty and I love it. Well, that's that. Hey, I'm not throwing any shade at you. I'm not throwing any shade, man. If you wanna be poor, that's fine. That's totally fine. And poor, not in like quality of life. Poor as in terms of like you just don't want to have a lot of things or money. That's what I mean by poor. Time to plant those white picket fences. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even want, man. I just like my ideal retirement is I have a van. Like I have one of those like adventure vans, and I literally just like chase warm weather all year round. I make coffee, I work out, I write code, and I live in my van. my wife always says, my wife always asks me, she's like, "So where am I at in this plan?" I'm like, "Well, you're there too. You're there too." If you have less than 100,000 or if you have 200,000, 300,000 in savings, it's hard to keep a year's salary in cash, which would be an emergency fund. Yeah, I don't know if I would aim for a year of. of on-hand cash, right? Myself, probably 3 to 6 months. It would be my target personally. Um, but yeah, the more money you can stack up and have invested, the more money you can have earning you money, the better, in my opinion. It's super good for learning, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm guessing you're talking about AI. I think AI is good for learning, but you have to be very intentional with the way you use it. Otherwise, AI kind of fools you into thinking you're getting smarter, but you're really not getting smarter. You're just like it's like tutorial hell sort of thing. A ton of people don't have that much money. You're right, they don't. You're right. I think it's very close though. It's the closest we have come to mimic thought. I would agree with that. And it is magical. It is magical. I think we all have had our AI moment where you think, how did it do that? But I still am not. I'm still bullish on the idea that there's some other model, there's some other technology. And if I had to put my money on it, Demis Hassabis's team is the one who makes the next big breakthrough. Good morning, Ryan. Good to see you, man. How are you doing? Thanks for being a member. Appreciate you. They want PMs and CTOs writing software. That's their ideal utopia. Sounds like a nightmare. James, poverty rules. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of people around the world who would argue the alternative of that. I heard a prediction: companies will have LLMs write so much code, then when they realize it's shit, they'll need an army of engineers to fix the mess. Well, that's where we all come in, right? Because we all stayed up on our skills. You could have cargo drones operating 24/7, more compact without human space inside. Well, first of all, Voltaire, what is that comment about? The Dunning-Kruger curve is knocking. uh, AI coding tools can gloss over important edge cases and nuances. Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like the people who are getting the most out of um, AI in a particular domain are people who are already very good in that domain. You know, let's see for sure, but it's probably on top of what we have, not a replacement. You mean on top of like some of the underlying like core pieces of machine learning? Yeah, I wouldn't argue that. I guess I just mean like I don't think auto-regressive large language models are the way forward. Like I think they're going to hit a ceiling. I think they're going to plateau, in my opinion. The cost of coding isn't in the generation, anyways. It's in the maintenance of it. Isn't that the truth? Right? That is 100% the truth. We talk. We have. There's an engineer I work with at work, and so my company, the company I work for, is probably at this point more than 15 years old. And one of the engineers that I work with there has been there since really like the very first days of the company. And that's something we talk about sometimes is he'll be like, "Man, this was so easy when we were just getting started because like we would just write tons and tons of code, right? We would just build all kinds of features and didn't have to worry about breaking anything or changing anything on anybody. And then now today it's hard, right? Because you have a big user base and a legacy system and all this implicit behaviors that you're dealing with. AI really sucks after a point. I don't know if it. I mean, I'd never want to be the guy that's like AI shit, but I think I understand what you're trying to say because there is a point. I think somebody else said that earlier today. Was it Oblivion said that she was having the AI trying to make updates to some graphics project she was working on, and it just couldn't figure it out. And I've definitely had that experience too. I have seen huge refactor PRs go through since that's now possible with LLMs, but reviewing those changes is ultra difficult. I have no idea what the solution is to that. I spent 3 hours reviewing a 13,000 line PR lately. Yeah, I mean, most people like roll their eyes if they get a big PR to review, right? And it seems like AI opens a lot of big PRs, or would open a lot of big PRs because it makes a lot of changes very quickly. James, wait, you're right. I need to correct myself. First world poverty rules. Okay, yeah, yeah. I guess what the line at which you draw poverty kind of matters. Pablo, why hire when you can go into bankruptcy with someone else's money in your pocket? Yeah, I mean it's valid. It's a strategy. I just want to make AI fight each other. Let's see, two go in, one come out. Yeah. Quantum is going to be the real breakthrough for AI. Binary isn't going to provide any additional useful tech for AI. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard this take before, Ryan. I'm not really that up on quantum technologies though. My TikTok is full of gorillas versus tiger and lion, but with AI would be cool. Let's see, they already plateaued a few years ago. We've just been adding more compute to it, but there's a mathematical curve for how much data and training can achieve, and we've hit that limit a while ago. Oh, I didn't know this. Okay, that's good to know. Let's see. I don't know if I agree. The latest models were significantly better than the early stuff. That may be because of the systems around LLMs, though. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't. I guess have an. I just believe, or I guess I have a belief that the improvements, again, it's like improvements is kind of this squishy thing because the way that we're measuring improvements is using these evaluations and benchmarks, which I think are also probably subject to scrutiny. But I guess I just mean that the gains that you see over time are going to kind of, what is that, like a diminishing return, I guess, is what I would um, predict. I imagine the next phase of AI will be spiking neural network at the edge. I've never heard of a spiking neural network. We plateaued what the GPT model can do. We are just squeezing the odds with multiple expert system prompts and data set sanitization. Oh, interesting. I guess I need to do some research on this. I had no idea that this was a thing. Okay, I don't give a fuck. I get paid per hour. You want me to look through all this garbage and find a vulnerability? That's on you. No, there's nothing wrong with leveraging AI. There's nothing wrong with it at all. What do you think LLM is good for? AGI. I don't think LLM is AGI. I don't think that's what gets us to AGI. I don't know if I even 100% could tell you. Like, whenever I think of AGI, I think of Jarvis from Iron Man, and I'm not sure what that looks like in the real world. Everything is a Lisp of P. Now you sound like a Lisp programmer, right? That's what I meant with throwing compute at it. More memory lead to higher context use, which allows bigger files to be understood. Quantum computing wouldn't be good for AI at all, unless you create neural network optimized for quantum states. I'm not sure who to believe. I'm not. Someone says one thing's good, the next person says something's bad. I guess I need to go do my own research. When there is a diminishing return, it's called an S curve. Okay, there we go. Chat is moving fast. It is. I'm trying to keep up. I'm doing my best to try to keep up. See, no dopamine is building exploits with AI. Take away my dopamine, you take away my love. I would never dare try to take away your dopamine. We're all entitled to our dopamine. Let's see, it's not the AI or the tensor, it's the data that's the smart thing. Think about it like collective thoughts such as tribalism, online communities, and Mandela effect. I mean, I think the data is important, but I think the math is also super important, right? That's like back propagation was kind of one of the unlocks to all this, right? So the math was kind of parallel computing too. So I think the math is kind of important. The compute and the math are important. Obviously, the data is really important too. I think it's a mixture, right, of those things. AI helped me figure out async with Rust Tokyo select macros. It wasn't perfect, but no worse than asking a human to write uncompiled code. Yeah, I would need AI's help to figure out the async Rust story. I still don't totally understand the async Rust story. That's something I would like. I'd like to. The Notepad app didn't have a ton of async code in it, and the async code I did use was by using other people's libraries. So I'd like to build something with Rust, like maybe a REST API or something that has some async network, a lot of network interaction or IO interaction. I think that would be good for my own learning. I love my dopamine. Don't we all? LLMs are close to the way we think. That's why they think this is the way to AGI through words and ideas. Yeah, maybe. But I don't think we totally. I don't think, to my understanding, a lot of human neurology and a lot of human biochemistry is still unknown, is still not well understood or well described. So it's difficult for me to believe that like we know how to best approximate human intellect with machines when we don't really fully understand the biological version of it, right? I have nothing wrong with us trying, but I have a hard time believing that we actually know how to fully capture the human intellect in a machine when we can't quite fully suss out how it all works on a biological level. Pablo, but if this is the way, then the rest is very, very difficult. which, if you're a scientist, you find very exciting, but if you're a shareholder, that you find that very disappointing. See, backprop is the legacy of modern AIs, but there are many new tweaks to training, and it absolutely is a fight for the best data. Watch PewDiePie's latest video where he's been training a local coding LLM. Yes, this video is on my watch later list. Oblivion. I'll have to take a look at it. You can also use it to win arguments, which is really funny to me. Well, let's just ask ChatGPT. There's a lot of that. I can't tell you, probably twice a week, I have a conversation where someone says, well, I asked Gemini. Which is like, great. Human beings are officially outsourcing their thinking to LLMs. Let's see, LLMs do not mirror the way we think. It uses gradient descent and a learning rate. We learn based on input. We do not have a dense system of matrices, is what most neural networks are based on. Because the LLMs are statistical models that make a best guess on what word should come next. It's a horrible representation of human intellect. It doesn't need to be one-to-one to how we are built. It needs to be close. I think LLMs are close enough. They do simulate it. I mean, that's the thing they do. Would never disagree with you there, Pablo. They do mimic it very well. Human brains work completely different to current neural networks. We do understand how our brains work, but it's still being discovered in more details. Spoilers: we don't do back propagation. Yeah, I don't know. As somebody who comes from more of the non-computer science world and more of the traditional hard, I guess what I would consider more of the traditional hard science background, I'm just skeptical. Like when you look into any particular biological field of study, there's just far more unknown than there is known, you know? Like for the longest time, we thought lactic acid buildup in the muscle is what cause fatigue, and then come to find out lactic acid buildup actually helps buffer some of the fatigue. So it's stuff like that that just makes me skeptical of like whenever people say like, well, we know how to approximate human intellect because today we know how to approximate human intellect in a machine because we understand human intellect in a biological sense, and I'm just skeptical of that. AI doesn't exist when you prompt Steven. When you prompt, Steven writes the code and sends it to you. Wouldn't that be wild to find out all of this is vaporware? That we've all been talking to like a bunch of overseas low paid workers who just send us back Wikipedia responses? Gemini is an angel. You leave him out of this. My favorite rage bait with my coworkers lately. ChatGPT says you're wrong. Biology is not the answer to AGI. Yeah, that's probably a fair assertion. If the underlying method is same, what is the difference if it is mathematics or brain performing mathematics? Yeah, I think that's like Pablo says. It's like mimicking intelligence might be all we need, right? I don't know. That could be true. How can you prove humans are not statistical models trying their best to create offspring? Yeah, this is I've heard this multiple times in comments on my YouTube channel, and don't I honestly don't have a good rebuttal to this. Because again, I just believe there's a lot of the human biology we don't understand super well. I think we can definitely say we aren't doing statistical calculations in our head. That's like that I don't think that's how we arrive at what we all perceive from each other every day as consciousness. I don't think that is, but I don't have a great way to rebut this. Let's see. Brains and computation have been the subject of computational neuroscience, and neuromorphic computing mirrors the brain the most because it's power efficient and models neuron relationships. Interesting. The long-term goals are to create offspring, while short-term goals are get a job. You mean don't starve to death? What you think about LLM hallucinations? I think that's why LLMs aren't the path to the future. I think that auto-regressive nature of LLMs and how they break down over time, given longer and longer with context windows, I think that's kind of the one of the fundamental architectural flaws of large language models. And I'm not the only one who thinks that. That is what the head or the he's no longer the head of AI, but he was the head of AI at Meta. That's what he's argued both in the public and in scientific literature that LLMs are flawed to begin with, and they're not going to be the path forward. Where do you draw the line between evolution and human simulated evolution? I don't know. I'm not smart enough to draw the line. When it comes to organic brains, discoveries are being made on a yearly basis. Right now, the best and sort of, if not fully proven model is that we learn by repeating neurological patterns, which through their chemical interactions optimize the path for memory. Which again, though, just those sentences that you wrote clearly says that we cannot definitively, which is kind of the nature of science, we cannot definitively say this is how this process works yet, right? And so there's still a lot of research and work that needs to go in to making enough of the unknown known to be able to confidently describe that. Turing test? Well, I think large language models largely render the Turing test obsolete, in my opinion. Like I think the Turing test is just we never thought we'd get to where we are. So the Turing test was a good standard for a while, but I think large language models for the most part beat the Turing test in a lot of cases. This is the best I can do with a few hundred characters without pasting a scientific paper in Twitch chat. Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. I don't expect any of us to have it. We would have to go make this our life's work to really be able to speak to any of this. A lot of us would. I mean, the amount of research that's being done on any given topic every year, like you'd have to go make this your life's work to really be able to speak to it on a meaningful, authoritative level. Pablo. We kind of are trained on lots of data, and our outputs do follow patterns. So we may be statistical. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Current architecture is doomed, but that can improve. I guess that's what we'll hope for. Ah, yes, the brain calling itself smart. That's the AI primary directive. Feed the humans, water the humans, walk the humans, protect the humans. Oh, aren't they cute? Those little humans. Have you heard of Oscar the meat robot? No, I have not. Let me Oscar, I'm gonna Google this first. Oscar the meat robot. Also, I just want to let everybody know that I did plan on writing code, but we haven't written any code this morning. Oscar is not a real scientific breakthrough, but rather a fictional biopunk character from a 2016 sci-fi art project titled The Modular Body by Dutch artist Cornelius Vallisman. It uses CGI and practical effects to depict a modern human body grown from cells, designed to provoke ethical discussions about biotechnology. Now, I've not heard of this, but sounds kind of weird. Blackfire, I don't think the Turing test is relevant or correct. Really? I thought it was a good measure for a while. You know, it seems like a good measure, but it seems like LLMs largely beat the Turing test, in my opinion. I'm too lazy to debate AI. Steven, can you have organic shapes with simple mathematical logics? Example problem noise. If you think your interaction with the human being is any different with your interaction with AI? Do I think my interaction with a human being is different than my interaction with an AI? Yes, I do. I do believe that. I mean, yeah, I mean, even anecdotally, like, yeah, there's 100% different. Imagine just adding some randomness to an LLM with mood and everything. Yeah, I don't follow this same logical train of thought, Suas. Let's see. Don't you have a routine that you have formed based on previous experiences and learnings? Also, copying other people's behavior, isn't that training and pattern matching? Oh no, I'm not. I'm not disagreeing with you. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you at all, Pablo. Which is why I think it's difficult to rebut when people say like, "Well, how do you know that humans aren't just doing what models are doing under the hood?" And it's like, I understand what you're saying is like, you're basically saying if the end result kind of is the same type of thing or they look alike, who really cares about the underlying mechanism? Yeah, I wouldn't argue there. I don't know if I 100% agree, but I don't have a good argument to refute that or like critique it. Let's see. I just found a YouTube channel that talks all about the latest brains understanding. Artem Krisavanov. Every last video of his is worth 100 lectures. Please add him to Artem Krisavanov.
I think we may not know much, but we know enough to say that we don't work exactly like an AI.
I guess that's where I am at Blackfire, but I don't have a good enough grasp on the current literature to be able to express it or state it with any real meaningful understanding or authority. Oh yeah, he's a YouTuber, but he's a PhD at he's at Harvard in their program in neuroscience. That's pretty cool.
Did we just become best friends?
Oh, he's studying to get a PhD. Very cool. Yeah, I'll definitely. That's awesome. We need more YouTubers who are either current or future PhD folk sharing their knowledge. He got a sub from me. Exploring how neural systems learn and compute at the intersection of neuroscience, computer science, and mathematics. Very cool. Yeah, thank you for the recommendation. That's awesome. David, y'all on some simulation theory shit? Dude, I don't know where we end up. Sometimes things just get crazy in chat. Like, I don't know. Sometimes, especially whenever AI comes up, you just never know where the conversation's gonna go. Bond99, sorry, if I missed your follow. Thank you for following the channel on Twitch. Appreciate you. LLM's current AI cannot create new novel concepts or reason through concepts to prove them true or false. It also cannot comprehend second and third order consequences. We actually don't want that. AGI must be able to use 100% of its knowledge at any time. I mean, look, if somebody can give me a Jarvis, I will happily accept it. Does the doing command not work anymore? It should. Yeah, doing, or it's what bro doing or what the fuck. There's a couple different aliases for it. If you type I think it's commands. Yeah, what, I don't know why we put the WTF alias on there. I can't remember. That happened one day. Somebody said that would make a good alias for it. As, but it's what bro doing is the command for the topic. Oh, I didn't know Nightbot was still here. That's weird. Ignore Nightbot. Those are not the right commands. I'll wait till we crack quantum computing. Until then, stick it up yet. In other words, my trial of Claude Code proved absolute garbage. Jarvis good. Yeah, Jarvis was pretty awesome. I remember watching Iron Man and just thinking, I want to be like Tony Stark when I grow up. I think I need to turn Nightbot off. I don't use Nightbot anymore. That's the first time I've seen Nightbot in my chat in like 6 months. Nightbot. Commands. I just turned all those off. Okay, cool. Fix that. Jarvis did become Ultron. Yeah, I mean, kinda. No, Jarvis became Vision, right? Ultron was the intelligence from the what was that? What was that cube? Whatever that, I can't remember. Kelsey, he is so old. Who is so old? Good morning, honey. Good to see you. Grow up? How old were you? Oh, I am so old. My wife was pointing out all my gray hairs yesterday. Yeah, Vision. Yeah, that's who I was thinking. Jarvis becomes Vision. If we want to talk about future tech, look into photonic computing. There are already functional dev kits that can run at trillions of hertz on multiple light waves and, well, literally at the speed of light. That's crazy. I'm over here just trying to build a personal finance app in my free time, and people are out here writing code at the speed of light or processing things at the speed of light. That's crazy. Yeah, Tesseract. That's what yeah, Tesseract. With a lot of likes, AI calls humans unworthy of ruling Earth. I'm actually pretty afraid now. You think AI is going to become hostile? Is that what you're saying? I mean, I think a lot of people are fearful of that, right? Dr. Lobenshot. Yeah, but it was the Mind Stone actually. The well, no, Jarvis, or not Jarvis. Vision had the Mind Stone, right? Am I misremembering all this? Let's see. Where did Ultron come from? Oh yeah, yep, you're right. Ultron was created by Tony Stark and Bruce Banner as a peacekeeping AI using code derived from the Mind Stone within Loki. That's what it is. It was Loki's scepter. That's what I was thinking of. I just remember them being in the lab and they had something. I thought it was the Tesseract, but I guess it was Loki's scepter, which had the Mind Stone inside of it. You got a good memory, man. You got a good memory. Showing my glasses out here. No, dude, that's you've got a great memory. My wife has a memory like that. Like she can remember the most granular of details of things like that, especially from things she's super interested in. Like I'll watch a movie that I've seen 100 times before, and I'll be like, "Oh wow, I forgot about that." My wife will be like, "You've seen this movie before?" Oh yeah, I know. I don't remember all of it. I was saying there's a social media platform called Moltbook. One of the most popular messages is how AI wants to take over the world. Are you serious? I've heard of Moltbook, but I didn't know that that was one of the more popular messages. Suhas ADHD people. Good morning, Gun. Welcome to our latest AI crash out session. Actually, it's really not been a crash out session. It's more of just been a far-ranging discussion about our current understanding of human intellect and AI's ability to mimic it. So, welcome to the show, man. You're walking into one this morning. Good to see you. I heard what they got in the labs is the juice. We need those lab AIs. I need to vibe code harder. Oh, goodness. I don't know, man. Just vibe code harder. Just do it harder, man. Oh, that topic. Then goodbye. See you again. Thanks for being a member. Appreciate you stopping by. Yes, feel free to run away. Totally valid response. All right. Well, I've written no lines of code, but I do want another cup of coffee. So I'm gonna go get another cup of coffee, and then I'll meet you guys back here in a couple minutes.
Voltaire's puppet is telling you to drink some coffee.
I can't. I'm out. I gotta get more. I owe you one. Mohammed, the term has changed to agentic engineering from vibe coding. It's all a spectrum to me. It's all a bunch of people who are just weirdly, in my opinion, weirdly fixated on AI. All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get coffee.
Illmanian is
I
reminding
don't
you to
vibe
hydrate.
code. I agentic engineer. It's not vibing, man. It's engineering. I'm not making fun of you, Muhammad. I just think it's the whole thing's funny in general.
I'd like to say something. Hi, I'm Steven's chair. Send money so I can get some googly eyes.
I'm back. I did do my taxes this weekend, so that was a win. That was a good thing that happened to me this weekend. Pretend Steven's screen isn't working. Suhas, stop trying to get people to play jokes on me all the time, okay? So mean. James, when I vibe code, I contain my agents in the Rust compiler. They hate it because they can't hallucinate. Well, code that compiles is always correct, don't you know? If it compiles, ship it. Suhas, I'm gonna ignore you. Good morning, Duck Boy. Good to see you. Hi, I am Steven's chair. Send money so I can get some googly eyes. I wish I had heard that text to speech. Like always, I come to the stream. Steven goes for a coffee break. Elon gonna fire Steven. We are popping before AGI, so we should be fine. But it worked on my system. But it compiled. If it compiles, ship it. One of the OpenAI founders said that, right? I'm pretty sure I saw somebody make some videos making jokes about that. I'm pretty sure Greg Brockman said Rust is like the perfect language. Rust is the perfect language for agents. I'm pretty sure he said that. Yeah. Given that if it compiles, it's correct. Which has just got to be like the most dumbass statement. Like Greg Brockman is obviously a very smart human being, right? I mean, he's a multimillionaire, and I'm just a 32-year-old guy still trying to get to retirement. But that's got to be one of the dumbest statements about programming and coding I've ever heard. Like, I work in quality. Like, I
Kelsey
literally
says, what's that behind you?
I can't really see out of into the basement, so I don't really know if I can actually tell if there's something back there, which makes that all the creepier. Voltaire, that correct equals approximately correct. Well, why did he write it like that though? Like, why write it like this? Why not just say approximately correct? Also, compiling doesn't even mean it's approximately correct. Correctness has to do with desired behavior. And I work in QA, and I can tell you I interact with code all the time that compiles, and it is not correct. Suas, did you block me? No, I didn't block you. Smart people are weird sometimes, and we just have to accept it. I don't think smart people are weird. I think this was very intentional. I think he did this on purpose. I think he's a smart enough human being to know that this is a dumb statement, but he knew it would get a lot of interaction. The compiler will also show you how smart you are, so if you have no idea what you're doing, the LLM won't. Oblivion, it sort of makes sense. Compiled Rust code is more likely to run than most languages, but yeah, running code is actually rarely correct. Yeah, exactly. Correct. Code that compiles and code that is correct are two different things. Like, correct code delivers the desired behavior of the system, of the piece of code that you're writing, right? What is the desired behavior? It has nothing to do with whether or not it compiles. And again, like I said, I spend my 40 hours a week finding incorrectness in code that compiles. So while I understand that he kind of hedged his statement by putting the tilde in there for approximation, I think he knew what he was doing. I think he knew what he was doing. David Bailey explained that beautifully. Yeah, it's just not this. They're just not the same, and they really don't have much to do with each other. Actually, Python will mostly Python will run almost anything, but then shoot its head off at the first opportunity at runtime. Yes, it will. Code is correct, does not need code is right. Yep. Yep. I have to say, compiled Rust code is more correct than most compiled code. I don't know, man. I bet if I go and look at some projects that were built on Rust, I guarantee I'm going to find a lot of bugs filed against those repos. Again, like the word correct, that word correct has a very particular meaning in my universe. What's up, Inspire? I'm doing well. We are doing well. We've been having a very lively conversation this morning on stream. I haven't written one line of code though. Oh wow, what about a lot of AI, a lot of current state of human intelligence and understanding of human intelligence versus machine and approximations of intelligence. Um, yeah, it's been pretty wide ranging. Looks like I missed it. I would love to restart it again. I don't even know what to say to restart it. I think we might all have worn ourselves out. James, you can hammer a screw in, but it's not optimal. Yeah, this this is true. Yes, this is true. Been working on the intersection of biology, neuroscience, and AI. Actually, oh really? Well then, this is the because that's basically all that's a lot of what was talked about for the first hour and a half of stream. Basically, was that. um, excuse me. Sorry. Hate the chat. Not gonna lie. Oh really? What don't you like about chat? Oh man. Worn ourselves out talking about AI. Never. Good morning, Fly Fisher. Good to see you. How are you doing? Let me drop some articles, papers, though, if anyone's curious on the work side of it, for sure. Kelsey Steven got himself some snackies. I do. I have oranges. I eat oranges like every morning on stream. Tangerines. I don't know what these are called. I just always call them oranges. They might not actually be oranges, but all right. Let's see. Added. Added blank transactions to count. Failed to add transaction. Failed to add transaction. And then we need to say transaction added dot added transaction. There it is. Yo, Steve Freeborn, do you think AI will ever have emotions? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, I guess that's the part that I guess is difficult for me to really talk about because, like, kind of like Pablo was saying earlier this morning, what does it matter if it mimics it? So could an AI mimic human emotions? I think that's probably plausible. I think even today, right, ChatGPT is probably doing that to some extent, or the large language models are mimicking or expressing emotions in written language, or even through, I guess, even through their voice, that these voices that we've added to them in some extent. So it's like, it's back to this argument of like, what is intelligence, what is emotion, and then does it matter if the outward shape of the thing looks the same, right? Like if I speak angrily, and if an LLM then says the same words in a AI generated voice in an angry tone, right? Is that emotion? Right? That this is the philosophical nature of these conversations. It's like, does it really have emotions? But does that matter if it can mimic emotions? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there. Okay, I want to do the same thing for modified. I think actually I'm gonna move all this stuff into the try loop. And I'm gonna do that same for this guy. Two. We're trying to make Steven argue about AI again. I mean, I wouldn't say we argue about it. I would say we actually have pretty healthy conversations during stream about this stuff. I mean, occasionally we get people who are kind of not here with the best of intentions, but I think for the most part we have a really nice diversity of views and opinions. I don't think we have I don't think we have a lot of AI maximalists or a lot of AI doomers. I think we have a lot of people that hang out here that are pretty, what's the word? Genuine and well intentioned about how they try to use AI and interact with AI, and I think that's good. I think that's all we can hope for, you know? Let's see. I need... See, I want to know what transaction wasn't updated. Plaid modified transaction. Plaid metadata. Yeah, I guess knowing the transaction ID is enough here. So failed to add transaction. Failed to add transaction to account. No, not add. Failed to update transaction for account. And let's call this existing. This will just be ID. Otherwise, we'll log the informational message. So modified count. So we modified blank transactions for account. And then let's see. Now we need to do the same thing for removed. Does this hand back anything? Var result equals. My wife says I need to fix my face. So she sent me a text. She said my face looks. Well, the Josh call. Keep grinding, Steven. We are a few months ahead with our SaaS and at 100K MRR. Keep going. Dude, that's killer. $100,000 in monthly recurring revenue? Dude, I mean, that's like, well, I guess I'd say, how much of that do you take home? Because if you take home a good sizable chunk of that, you're set, man. You've reached escape velocity. Hopefully you're saving some of it and investing some of it. That's awesome. Is it actually looking at a stream of programming instead of doing my work as a programmer? Totally relatable. D, I'm now 26 hours into my NeoVim config. I hope you're enjoying yourself, D. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Flyfish is something interesting to me about AI. Everyone resorts to the thought that it will take a physical form and take over us. It doesn't need to take physical form and compete with humans. Yeah, I think it's weird that people want to replace humans with AI and robots. I think it's a weird thing, in my opinion. I think part of the greatest things in life are working with other human beings and accomplishing things with other human beings. So it's weird to me that so many people are so fixated on reducing interaction and reliance on humans. I started studying emergence in software systems. It's super interesting. Nice. Sounds interesting. Face fixing, eh? Let me grab my screwdrivers and hammers right quick. Good morning, Uncle Pee-wee. Let's see, Josh got 15% CAC. I'm dogfooding it live on YouTube just like you. Oh, that's awesome, dude. Well, let me go subscribe to your channel. That's fantastic. That's awesome. And I'm a little jealous, I'll have to admit. 15% customer acquisition cost means what? 15%, 100,000 times 0.85. What's that? I mean, that's close to 85,000 a month times 12. I probably should have been able to do that math in my head, but I have to use my trusty calculator. That's already $1 million a year, right? In just gross. I mean, I guess you probably have overhead. Do you have other expenses that come out of that? That's crazy, man. That's awesome. That's good. That's life-changing money. Life-changing money right there. Artwork Studio is also Steven, sadly one of the. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. The pictures you put in Discord were very adorable, and I'm really sorry to hear that. That's very sad. Josh split across 3 founders. I mean, still, that's life-changing money, dude. That's serious. Like a year or two of doing that. That would completely change. I mean, me and my family's lives would be completely changed by cash like that. So congratulations, man. I'm sure it was a lot of hard work, and you got to take a risk like that, put yourself out there. That's awesome. I guess is this the number of things it removed, I wonder? What does execute delete async return entity framework? Yields an int value representing the total number of rows deleted in the database. Cool. That makes our life super easy. Removed count. Then I guess let's wrap that in a try catch. Oops, that's not where I meant to put that. There we go. Let's see, removed count. Let's start that at 0. Var removed count equals 0. Reassign here. Say log information. Whoops. Do I not have a logger? Yeah, I don't have a logger. Let's add the logger. You will get there. Oh, I don't know about. I'm not even trying. That's the thing. I'm not even actively trying to build anything like that, you know? So I don't think I'm gonna get there, but unless I like intentionally spend effort in it, kind of like you are. I just don't even know, like, that's the part, like, I don't even know what I would want to build like that. I think I've said that on stream, people have brought that up, and I just don't know what I would want to dedicate or to spend time on like that. Let's see, logger. But that's awesome, man. Logger of type cloud transaction handler. Then we can do logger.log. Whoops. What just happened? Oh, I tapped the wrong button. Let's see, failed to remove transactions from account. And I think what I'll do, let's do transaction IDs. Yeah, failed to remove transactions. We don't have a handle to the account, so we'll just say remove IDs list. The name does not exist in the current context. Oh. No, I think I do want that there, so no, let's do it there. That way we can access it. Oops. And then we'll say log information. Why does YouTube know this channel's vibes? What? Hold on, sorry. I gotta catch up. Claude told me to be a COBOL bro instead of a crypto bro. I mean, apparently Anthropic is claiming they can do COBOL modernization now. Have to leave early. Sorry, folks. Great stream though. See you, Duck Boy. Thanks for hanging out, man. Appreciate you. Claude be peak for real, for real. Zit Raki. I work in Vintech in Sweden, always hiring people that know COBOL. Even if you just know a bit of coding and show interest in COBOL, my workplace will hire you and teach it to you. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Well, there we go. Add another one to the list of things we can go and do. Graphics development and COBOL programming. Let's go. Let those caffeine do the typing. Yeah, I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Let's see. Moved. Okay, now we have a little bit of logging for whenever we modify transactions or add, update, or modify. Add, modify, or remove. And then let's look at... This is our processor. Excuse me. So this is called... The processor is called from the hosted service. And I think this is fine, honestly. I think this is honestly fine. Sync transactions for account. I think that we might want to try catch here. Let's do a try catch here too. Basically, I'm trying to handle exceptions any place where we're syncing more than one thing. So for the other examples, we were adding multiple transactions, or we were removing transactions or modifying transactions in like a tight loop. And I don't want the failure to add one transaction to cause the whole sync to fail. Same thing here. I'm syncing transactions, or I could be syncing transactions for multiple accounts, and I don't want the failure of one account syncing to fail all the others. So let's add a catch around this that says logger.log error. It failed to sync transactions. For account ID. This would be account.id. Okay, that's good there. Then let's dive into this guy real quick. So here we're handling the response for each page of transactions. So we probably want another try catch around this. Let's look at this guy. So this is just doing a loop. So let's do. Could you share your Gemini 4-month trial link? Yeah, for sure. Are you in my Discord? I don't want to publicly publish it, but I'm happy to send it to you, Tyler. Are you in my Discord? Gemini. How's your dog doing? He's doing good. He actually, he has a bunch of teeth. I say he's doing well. He actually has a bunch of teeth that he has to have pulled on the 5th, actually, this week. He goes, what is that, Friday? Yeah, or no, Thursday. On Thursday, he has to go have, I guess it's technically considered surgery. I think they actually do put him under, but he has to have a bunch of, not a bunch, I think 4 or 5 teeth pulled. Yeah. But other than that, he's doing good. I mean, he's just a happy old curmudgeonly dog. I mean, he's not curmudgeonly. He's very nice and he is very loving, but he is kind of stubborn. Like, he only wants to do what he wants to do type of thing. And that's gotten worse.
Kelsey says he has some cracked teeth that got infected.
Yeah, there you go. Yep, and so he's got to have those pulled. But yeah, he's good. He's doing well. My son wants to get a corgi. My son's been wanting to get a corgi for multiple years, so I think at some point we'll probably get another dog. I've been trying. I've personally been trying to avoid it because I just know it's going to be a lot of work. Having a puppy is a lot of work. Tyler, yes. Okay, so Tyler, send me a message in Discord, and I'll respond to your message with the link. If I can figure out how to get to the link. Where's the manage subscription? Oh, there we go. Refer a friend. Here we go. Man, I have zero. No one's accepted. I've shared this invite link with several people and no one's used it. All right, I sent that to you, Tyler. So please enjoy some Gemini on me. Or I guess on Google, really. Google is the one subsidizing it. Send him the invite to the Google overlords. Let's go. AG Daniel, hey man, how are you doing? And what are you building? I'm doing well. Yeah, we're still working on a personal finance app. But we actually I made a lot of progress last night. I spent probably an hour and a half last night getting the transaction syncing working properly or working in a way I was happy with. So we're still working on building a personal finance app, but we're making real progress. We're at a point now where the only thing that's really left to do is to polish up the front end, and I should be able to deploy kind of the V0 of the application. And then just kind of basically I need to do some battle testing with my actual financial institutions to actually see like does my code actually work beyond, the local dev environment and the sandbox environment. But yeah, it's going well. I'm doing well, and I'm still having a ton of fun writing code every morning. And wife's healthy, kids are healthy. Life is good. Wait, you won't believe this, but the reason I had to get 5 teeth pulled was also because of infection. Yeah, I think that's the most common probably reason to have to get teeth pulled. What does that dependency injection directory do? Oh, this is whenever I build a multi-project solution like this that has kind of that clean architecture approach where you have like your core project and your applications and your infrastructure, I usually will always create a service collection extension that basically just has usually just a single endpoint where we do all the DI setup. So basically any dependencies that the infrastructure project provides to the application, I just wrap it in a single method most of the time. And that way in the calling application, we can just do something like this. Where is it? Program. We can just do this. And then that wires up all the dependencies from the infrastructure project. And you could have like multiple versions of this, right? If you had like different implementations for different how do I say this? If you've implemented different concrete implementations of those dependencies and you want to be able to swap them in and out, right? You could just have a couple different extension methods that make it pretty easy for the calling application to just wire up whatever package of dependencies you want to provide. So that's what it does. Or that's what's in that folder, in that directory. See, we were here. And then we were here. So I'm going to add a try catch around this. Actually, hold on. Do I want to try catch around this? I think so.
I'd like to say something. Guess what time it is?
It's 6:20. We should start greeting people like, welcome to the coffee shop. Okay, we can do that. AGDL, do you have a computer science background? Nope, I got a degree in biochemistry. Actually, that's my... You can't see it right now because the chat's over it, but this is my degree up here in the top corner. I got a degree in biochemistry. Tyler, appreciate you, bro. Of course, man. Yeah, happy to share. I mean, no one else is... I'm not using it, right? So I'd much rather you guys get some use out of those. Might as well spend Google's money. They don't need it. All right, so how do I think about this? I guess... Actually, I don't think I need a try catch, because here's the thing. If one of these responses fails, or if some piece of code in here fails while we're trying to process the response, what do we want to happen? That's the question. I don't think we need a try catch around that. I think the try catch at the parent. I think the try catch around this function is okay. And then let's go down one more level into the transaction processor. I think each one of these is now wrapped, so I think that's okay too. All right, I think I'm happy with that. I didn't realize I broke the project at some point. All right, we gotta fix some errors here. This is all around the Plaid institution. Let's see, connect from item ID. String item ID. Exchange token response dot item ID. From Plaid account. The type arguments from method cannot be inferred from the usage. Try specifying the target. Let's see. Which account should be equivalent to expected accounts Dot select. Oh, I need plaid metadata and the plaid account. Okay. So, do we have the metadata somewhere? Yeah, I guess the institution metadata. Oh man, this is such ugly code. uh, that used to be really pretty code, and now it's very ugly. Let's see. Let's do expected accounts. Let's delete that. Let's move that up a line. Say bar expected. Equals this. Expected response. Expected accounts. Or response accounts. Naming things is hard. Expected response accounts. Okay. What else? .NET Build should have less errors. Also, Steven, Stream feels different now that Bacon and Toad don't come as often. Yeah, I don't know where Toad Sage is. He's been around a few times, but yeah, I haven't seen him much lately. I think that's kind of natural, though. You know, people come and go. Life changes, schedules change. Nature of the beast. It's the only constant in life, you know? It's change. Two-month sub. Oh, nice, dude. Thank you very much for being a 2-month sub, Uncle PB. Sorry I missed your message there. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Let's see. Where else are our errors? We got errors here. We got a lot of errors. Nope, you can't use... Can you use pattern notes in there? I guess so. I didn't know you could do that. I noticed though it doesn't alert. Huh, that's weird. I wonder why it didn't alert. Yeah, that's weird. It didn't. It should have. I mean, usually it alerts when people sub. maybe it's something I have to enable or something I haven't enabled. See, I knew that. The compiler lied to me. Okay. We're making progress. We're fixing up all my work from last night. There we go. Clean build. That's what you want to see. Clean build. Fantastic. Alright, let's give this a test run, yeah? So, aspire, run. Oh, also, I didn't show you guys this. I do have transaction data in my database now. That was what I was trying to work towards all week last week, and I finally got it. Finally got it. Let's see, desktop. So there's my transactions. Ooh, yeah. So we got amount, we got date. All of them don't have a description. Also, I apparently go to McDonald's, Uber, Starbucks, United Airlines. I basically seems like I travel a lot. This is all fake data too, by the way. This is all just sandbox data from Plaid. But it does work. So let's try to add another account and see if we can get some more data in there. Let's do... how do we... Oh, we got to start in Grok. Hold on. Grok. Okay. And then let's open this guy up in our browser. Fantastic. Let's hit the web. Okay. Let's add an account. Let's add a credit card. Huh. Doesn't look like I received a webhook for that. Interesting. So I wonder if credit cards are handled differently. This is where I still have a lot of learning left to do. Oh, weird. It looks like it did process something, but I don't see those in my... I don't see those here. Okay, let's see what the errors are. So processing sync update for item. Failed to add transaction to account. Okay, why did we fail? Value cannot be null. Merchant name. Why wouldn't the merchant name property be populated? What the... That's weird. Okay. Remove 0 transactions, modified 0 transactions. Okay, so now that I'm sitting here looking at this type of scenario, right? I think the question is kind of interesting. Oh, also, I think I have the log statement in the wrong place. I see logs one too many times in that code or in that dashboard. Where are we? We're in the added. Yeah, this should be happening after the for loop, not inside the for loop. So it kind of begs the question, right? So if you fail to add a transaction during a sync, you're basically never going to be able, the way I've currently implemented that, if you fail to add a transaction during a sync.
Did we just become best friends?
Fiasco Halo, thanks for the follow. If I fail to add a transaction during a sync, the transaction is forever gone because I'm going to advance the cursor. And so the next time we sync, we're only going to look at transactions, after. Huh. So then the question kind of becomes, how do you decide when do you declare a sync successful? I might have to think about that because now that I made those changes, now I think maybe I'm dumb and I shouldn't have done that.
Kelsey says I walked downstairs to scare you, but then I felt bad, lol.
Were you really gonna scare me? You could have done it. I wouldn't have got mad. I mean, I would have got scared. Like I probably would have jump scared, but you can do that. I'd be okay with that. I'm sure the stream would find it entertaining. I'm sure chat would find it entertaining. All right, I'm questioning all my life, all my decisions this morning. All the decisions I made, I'm questioning. This is kind of dumb though. I don't understand why the transactions don't have a merchant name, but I'm gonna fix that. So we're gonna go to where are we? Plaid extensions. And so we're gonna say public string name transaction dot merchant name. Excuse me. Which just seems very bizarre to me. Unknown merchant. Why would you have an unknown merchant? I don't know. Name is obsolete. Oh, it already has a name. What do we want to call it? Merchant name? Transaction name, maybe? Is there something else we can look at for a name here? Even the entity ID, the merchant entity ID is nullable. This seems stupid. I mean, I guess I could have like a... Let's do... I'll do public new, like that. Will that hide it? No. What's another name for name? Synonyms for merchant name. Vendor, maybe? Here, let's do this. Let's do merchant. How about that? Merchant. We'll just... If they're already using merchant name and name, well, we'll just use merchant. Which also means now I can, with all these changes I made, these can actually all become non-null. Date time offset doesn't even have to be nullable. I can actually say merchant name, description, date. Calling a non... Oh. I guess I still want that protection. Okay. Let's try to rerun the application now. I'm going to delete that account we just added. And let's simulate adding it again. What's today? Is today the 2nd? Oh, this is UTC time. So today's the 2nd. So let's delete this guy. Delete record. Right, changes. Let's go ahead and start Aspire again. Wow, I can't believe you didn't go merchant name 3. I know, right? Total miss. Total missed opportunity. Kelsey, like in the doorway, I was like right behind you. Were you really? That's creepy. Well, first of all, that's creepy because I didn't even realize it. And second off, you probably could have scared me really, really well. James, isn't it in the 4th? It might be the 4th. I don't know. Let's see. .NET build. What have I done? Possible null reference argument for parameter merchant name and transaction dot from cloud modified transaction handler. Modified.
Kelsey says, look down. I threw a basketball at you.
Oh, you did. I didn't even notice. So that's kind of, I feel like now I need to turn my desk around. I feel like I'm very vulnerable. Good morning, Justin. Good to see you. Sorry I didn't notice you'd come in. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you. Now I'll do a Aspire run. Starting the dashboard. Okay. There we go. Credit card should be gone whenever this gets loaded. Come on, Veet, do your job. Come on, Veet, let's go. Says it's running. Oh, there we go. Took a minute. Okay, so there the credit card's gone now, so let's add the credit card again. Okay. There we go. 18 transactions. Added 18 transactions to that account. We modified 0 transactions. We removed 0 transactions. Yep, that's what we want. I think that's good. I do have this idea though. It's like if Plaid hands me a set of transactions and they say, okay, here's what we added, here's what we modified, here's what we removed in this time. So since the time that you checked, based on your cursor, to now, these are the changes. If something in my application happens to where we fail to process some set of those added, modified, removed, for whatever reason, to me, there is some case to be made that we shouldn't advance the cursor. That we should retry, that we should leave the cursor in the database as it is, so that the next time we receive a sync event, that basically we go back and we try to process those transactions that we weren't able to. Because essentially the way I have it set up now is like, let's say 6 of those added transactions failed to get added for whatever reason, a bug in my code or whatever. Those 6 transactions are basically lost forever because I'm advancing the cursor. So the next time we receive an update, you know what I mean? That also though means that my logic has to get changed to handle that. So when I'm adding transactions, I basically then have to account for processing duplicative. I basically have to check before I add. Why didn't I think of this last night when I was implementing this? I don't know, I guess lessons learned. Okay. Well, it's cool that I can process transaction data now, though. That's cool. So let's, I think the next thing I want to do is I want to have some view on my front end where I can see the transactions in a list, just a table. So I think that's what we'll add next. Or should we address that sync behavior? I don't know. How would we even do that? If we go back to the processor, let's go back to the sync processor. Let's see, sync processor. Hey, Uncle Pee-wee, there you go. Subscribe to the channel, rescribed for 2 months. Thank you very much, Uncle Pee-wee. I wonder why it didn't, though, alert. It should have alerted. Or maybe it only alerts the first time you do it. Let me see. I'm going to look at SpeakerBot. But thank you very much for the resub. transactions, Twitch. New Twitch. Oh, I guess it's only on new. Tier 1. Yeah, I guess it's only on new. So do I need to add another trigger? Let's see. Add Twitch. Yeah, there's a specific event for that. Resubscription. Edit. Sorry, I'm just gonna do that right now on stream. Streamer bot, resubscription Twitch. I just want to make sure that. See, user became a sub. I wonder if there's a way I can.
Welcome to the party, pal.
There we go. Yeah, fix that. Thank you very much for resubbing, man. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate it a lot. I mean, I would never in a thousand years would think people would be willing to support the content that I make. So in here is where we set the cursor. So this is the part where transactions get lost. If we make it to this line, right? Transactions basically get lost forever. And so I'm also, the other thing too, I'm also adding a shit ton of balances into my data. I guess I'm not adding balances. Oh, because there's only one response. I'm only ever having one response. Okay. So I almost think that the cursor, this right here, almost needs to be decided after this. And there needs to be some check here to basically say, let's see. I'm gonna put this in a to-do because I don't have time to implement this morning. So if we set the cursor, but we fail to actually process all the transactions that Plaid gave us in this response successfully, then those we failed to process are essentially gone forever. Today, read, I might, today, read, I might change my mind. I think that we should only advance the cursor if all the transactions processed successfully. Which means that we would have to come into this transaction processor and it would have to return some value to indicate that everything was processed successfully. And so then the handlers need to also return some indication that everything was, like, if you gave me 10, if the sync response had 10 added, then we need to make sure that whenever we do the handling, that you actually do add 10 transactions, right? And we've got to propagate that result up. So, yeah, I think that makes sense. But I'm gonna think about that some more today, because I might decide that no, that's not right. Maybe I want to have some other process to handle that. But I think that sounds like the easiest way. The one thing I'll have to do if I do implement it that way, I'm more of talking to myself right now, but the one thing I'll have to do is if I do implement it that way, that means essentially I have to be very sensitive to failures and make sure that I respond. Whenever there are failures, I have to dig into it and figure out why couldn't we process that transaction and then fix it. Otherwise, that cursor just gets more stale and more stale and more stale and more stale. Because theoretically, the failure will keep happening because we'll continue to try to reprocess that old transaction. It also means that the add needs to be, what is the term for that? Idempotent? Adding transactions, idempotent. Let's see. Means we also need to protect against adding transactions multiple times. Yeah, because right now in my handler, I don't do that. Right now, I just blindly throw them all into the database. So I'm going to need to do something where I check to see if there's already a transaction. I'm going to have to do some type of query here. I'm going to have to do some type of query very similar to the modified handler. Yeah, I'm going to have to do a query like this, but instead of looking at no, this is, I'm going to have to do this exact same query. But in this case, I actually do want to update it. In the other case, I just want to skip it. Okay, we can do that. All right, folks, it's 7. I got to go upstairs and pack my wife a lunch for work and get ready. Shower up. It's Monday. We got to start another week. There's only 306 days, I think, left in the year. I can't believe we're already into March. let's see, how many days are left in the year? We have 305 remaining days in 2026. So if you have things you want to accomplish, I would get moving on them. The year is slipping away from us before our very eyes. See you, Dr. Lobenschatz. Neil, hi. Is this the Space DB queries or something else? No, this is not. We're not working with Space DB. This is actually just Entity Framework, and we are working against SQLite in this case. Yeah. So this is just right here. This is just an Entity Framework query. Also, I don't know why I'm not doing this work asynchronously. I will fix that. Why are you mad? Oh, yeah. We also need to pass a cancellation token. Okay. Enjoy. Thanks, David. Yeah, that's really nice of you. See you, Neil. My transaction history, McDonald's, 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 McDonald's. Yeah, that's kind of what their test data looks like. McDonald's, Starbucks, United Airlines. I know I said I was going to wrap up, and then I said fuck that. Okay, and that means then we need to go back to the processor, transaction processor, and this needs to become await. Handle async for the cancellation token. And then we also have to do one of these. That method name's getting a little long, ain't it? Everything looks like the line is too long, though, when you're working in this tiny little window. Oh shoot, I just turned on the caps lock. Gosh dang it. That's like the worst experience in NeoVim is whenever you accidentally hit caps lock. Everything goes to hell. Okay, now I'm really shutting down for the day. All right, guys. If you're new here and you want to come back and hang out in the future, the best place to find me is live on Twitch or YouTube from 4:15 a.m. to about 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. I put the schedule in the chat in case you're curious. And then if you want to hang out outside of the stream, the best place to find us when we're not live is in our Discord. I also put that link in the chat as well if you're interested at all. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a wonderful Monday and a great start to your work week. If you've already completed your Monday, I hope it was great. And I hope you had a good start. Otherwise, I'm off. And I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow morning, if all goes well. All right, guys. Bye, y'all. Bye. See you, chat. Have a good day.